Okay, you should have had time to complete the other 3 100 charts. So for part B, how many total squares? As we said, they all have 100, so that doesn't change on any of them. How many squares were shaded? There were 8. My ratio of shaded to total would be 8 to 100. My fraction would be 8 out of 100. If you want to simplify, that's fine, but it does not ask you to do that. And my percentage would be 8%. If I look at part C, again, there are 100 total squares. I have 51 of them shaded in. My ratio of shaded to total squares is 51 to 100. My fraction is 51 over 100. My percentage is 51%. And last but not least, letter D, again, there are 100 shaded total, or 100 total squares, 25 of which are shaded, which is a quarter of those squares. Kind of cool. My ratio is 25 out of 100. My fraction is 25 over 100, and my percentage is 25%. So pause the video if you need more time to copy it down, but I'm going to turn my packet. Okay. So moving on to lesson 4.1, a little bit more in. Some of this information is also in your online Big Ideas booklet, but I am not giving you homework on there because we've kind of moved away from it, so you pretty much just have everything here that you need. A percent, so you need to write that word in here, is a value of part to whole ratio where the whole is 100. So you can write a percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100, and a symbol, the percent symbol, is used to denote the percent. So they're showing you a little diagram right here. The percent always goes over 100, and we'll be getting into some problems like that. And then the part, which is also equal to the percentage, or the whole is 100%. So it also works for if you're reading statements where the percent is equal to is and 100 of the is equal to of. And we'll do some examples so you'll get used to it. So it tells you to label like page 164, but I'm going to help you out. And I'm going to tell you that this is a part. This is a percentage sign. So that's your percentage. Or the whole, which equals 100. Again, here's my part. Here is my whole. And this is my part. This little line right here, they call per. And then again, my whole. Okay, so you can take a moment to write that down. All right, if you need to pause, that's fine, but I'm going to move on. So it says writing percents as fractions in simplest form. So they took 75%, which we know this because that is 100. That means that out of 100, because it's a percent. So I could write 75 over 100. So if I take my percent to make it a fraction, so if I say percent to fraction, and I wrote 75 over 100. Then we've worked on fractions, we worked on equivalent ratios, so I need to get this down to the value, and I need to get it down to simplest terms. So I know, because I know money, and I know 3/4 go into 75, 4/4 go into $1, so I could break this down to 3/4. So this would be my simplest form. So 75% also is equal to 3/4. Then it goes on and gives you another example. It says write 28% as a fraction in simplest form. So I wrote my 28 over 100, and I simplified it down to 7/25. So 28% can also be known as 7/25. And if I was going to color it in my hundreds chart, I would need to count up and do 20, which is 2 rows, and then 28, which is all of this row except for 2. So if I want to shade that in, I could. Over here, it's just a little cheat sheet for you. It's showing you if you have a half, it's also equal to 0.5 or 5/10 or 50%. So they're just showing you a couple fractions here. And here again is our 3/4. are 75 hundredths or 75%. So they're giving you some commonly used fractions to percents. So that's a good little thing to keep on the side because you might run across that again. All right, I'm going to pause here